All right, everybody, welcome back to the new MOJO shop guitar. And man, we got a real nice one this time. We got this one here. Look at, she's in a nice little case. It's a little bit dirty. Seen better days. But what do we have there? I don't know if we can read that. Why, that says Eastman on it. Well, do we got something pretty nice here or what? What do you say we take a look at it, huh? Let's see, we got some clips here. Everybody loves that. Oh yeah. The sound of a quality guitar case being opened. Uh-oh. And here we go. Right here. I think we got the old one in the back there. Yep. Okay, we got them all open. What are we looking at here? Let's get the peekaboo look. Oh, 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 oh. What do we got here? Bam. Make sure the lid stays open. Woo, doggy. That looks like a hollow body. With the two F holes. Hey. Look at that beautiful, beautiful wood. That is beautiful. This is a quality instrument. At least it appears to be. A buddy of mine a buddy of mine brought this in here. And he says it needs a setup. He's going to play the dog out of it. He's going to play it. It's going to be his main go-to. Yeah, look at that. It's an Eastman for sure. Look, that is a nice looking. Look at the inlay on that. The nice big old block angled inlay. The big binding down the side. The triple binding all the way around. Man, just look at that. The nice, beautiful pick guard. Let's see what the back looks like. Let's stand her up. Oh man, it's got that really nice heel where they, and look at that. Oh, my binding is doggy on the back, all over the sides. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like this really cool, like ribbed binding. You can see it's got like little, stuff in it. This really makes it look cool, I think. Look at that. Man, and the back is just as beautiful as the front. It's just, this is a quality. Oh, look at the book matching, if you can see it right there. It's just really, really beautiful. In the back of the neck. Nice and smooth. And you can see it's got a three-piece neck. But look at the wood grain on the back of that headstock. That's just beautiful. It's really got a nice little, you can see it right there. Look how nice that, it's almost blurry. The wood is almost blurred. And it's got the really nice, old style Clusen tuners. I mean, this thing is a real beauty. And a beautiful case. We're going to take this in. We're going to give this the setup. We're going to go over it, make sure everything is doing what it's supposed to do. And look at that. I just seen that up in the lid. It's a little certificate of authenticity. Look at that. MOJO Shop has a certificate of authenticity too when I build a guitar. So, what we're going to do is we'll set that off to the side right there. We'll put it back in the case. We're going to get this one over to the bench. We're going to get started on it. And we're going to make this guitar happy, happy, happy. What do you say? Alright, here we are over the bench. And man, look at the star of the show. Look at this. Oh, it's so beautiful. I really enjoy it when I get a nice, really nice quality, guitar. And it's Eastman. Who ever heard of Eastman? It's not like a popular brand. It's not a Fender or a Gibson or something. It's an Eastman. But, it's made in China or, in Asia someplace. It's not made here in the United States. But it is distributed here in the United States. It's a company in the United States that, has a company, has some guitars built for them over in Indonesia or China or wherever it is, you know. Doesn't really say. I think it said, I had to look it up. I can't remember what country it is. But it's one of the better builders, of course. You know, look at this thing. It's beautiful. You know, you saw the special binding around the outside. You know, that's just not everyday binding. That's some nice stuff. But anyways, let's get started on this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take the strings off of it. And then we're going to just basically start at the headstock up here. And we're going to make sure all the tuners and everything are tight and right. And everything's good up there. And we'll clean that all up. And then we'll move on to the fretboard. We'll get that nice and flat. You know, we'll adjust the truss rod so that the neck is perfectly flat. And then we will level the frets. We'll crown the frets. We'll do the fret ends. And then we will condition the fretboard. You know, get that wood nice and happy and stuff. And we're going to polish the frets up real nice and shiny, so they're just as shiny as can be. And then we'll move on to the body and stuff. And we'll take care of all the things in the body. You know, we'll clean the pots out. Make sure the switch has been lubricated. And we'll make sure that everything's tight, everything's right, everything's clean. You know, we're going to do some special things to the pickups. You know. And we're going to, you know, just get it where it's supposed to be. We're going to get it so that every single note is playing perfectly in tune up and down this neck. And that it's doing what a guitar is supposed to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get out a couple of tools here. And we're going to get out my tray. You know, I used to have to dig through stuff a lot. You know, and I'm not very organized, but I am kind of semi-organized. And these are pretty much a lot of the tools that I use right here in this Frisbee. It's just a Frisbee, you know, but it keeps it right there, and it's nice and handy, and I don't got to dig through or have a bunch of drawers or something I got to dig through. And some of the stuff is a little bit on the large side, so I'll leave it, you know, over here, but I don't think I'll even need this one for that. Anyway, anywho, I got a little prop underneath the neck over here. Maybe we'll move down just a little bit. There we go, move it down this way. Alright, we're just going to loosen up the strings a little bit. We'll take the strings off of it. Alright, so we take the tension off it. Now come through here and cut off these strings. And there's a, ooh, it was hiding, I couldn't even see it. Come on now, there we go. Alright, move back down a little bit. There we go, bam. Alright, we got the strings off this. Probably just going to take this bridge right off there so they don't slide across the body. And we'll go ahead and take these strings off here. And they were put on the right way, so they're easy to get off. Here's a message from all the guys who do this for a living. Please learn how to wrap, learn how to put your strings on if you're going to put them on. Make them so that they're easy to get off. You know, you're going to have to change them eventually. It's, you know, I know it takes just a little bit longer, but I've seen some really, really wacky ways of putting some strings on, I'm telling you one thing. But these come off real nice and easy. Thank you to the last guy who put strings on us. Alright, and we're going to wind these all up. So I wind these up like this. Put them in a little ball like that before you throw them in the garbage. That way they're not all over the stinking place. Okay, we're going to do a few of those things that we said we were going to do. We're going to check the headstock. I'm going to remove the truss rod cover. And I'm going to do a few, I'm going to check all these tuners over. Let's see what they look like. Oh, my bridge just fell off. Yeah, they got the clues, they just got the little screws on the back. That's about all we can do. We're going to put a little drop of oil in the holes there. As you can see, they have little holes right there. We're going to put just a little drop of oil right in there. Okay? So, when I get that taken care of, I'll be right back. Alright, I got good news. We went through all the tuners, man, and there was just a couple of little screws that were just tiny bit loose. So we got those all nice and snug, and we put a little oil in the back of these tuners, and we gave them a little twist back and forth, so everything is cool. But now we're going to check and see if this neck is level here, see what's going on with it. And is it rocking any? It is rocking just a little bit, and I don't mean in a good way. You can hear that. It means that it's high in the middle a little bit. It has a little, it has a little hump. It's a little tiny one. We don't want a hump. We want it nice and flat. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to loosen up the truss rod a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put the truss rod wrench on there. We're going to loosen that up just a hair down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just give this a little bit of friendly persuasion. I'm just kind of lifting up with this hand and pushing down with this one. So we're kind of making it go in the direction we want it to. And we'll try it out again. That seems like it might be flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little tiny feeler gauge. You guys have seen it before. Look at, watch it. It practically disappears. It's so thin. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to put that underneath these frets here. And I'm going to start I'm going to go from the back side. It's a little bit easier for me. I'm going to start at the first fret up here. That one's touching. I can't stick this feeler gauge between the fret and the straight edge. Well, this one I can, just a little bit. But the next one I can't. It goes just a little bit, but it won't go. And see, none of these go. These are all sticking under it a little bit. But then we get down towards the end and it doesn't stick at all. It just stops right there. All right. Now, what I got to do is I got to make a decision. Do I want to bring this up just a little bit, or do I want to leave it the way it is? Okay, I'm going to tighten it just a hair, and try it again. Right there. And with the truss rod, I kind of like to keep it where if I got to loosen it, I'm going to tighten it up just a hair. Yep, nope, not yet. I should have. Got to go back the other way. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we get this perfectly level. And when I do, I'll show you the next step. Well, I got this fretboard real nice and flat. Okay? Got it real nice and flat. That's it. Perfectly flat yet, but it's going to be. Alright? Tell you what, let's slide the guitar down a little bit. Alright, okay, now I got this nice and flat with the straight edge, as straight as I can, as flat as I can get it, adjusting the truss rod, which adjusted up real nice. And I noticed that over here in this truss rod, let's take a look at that. As you can see, that's got a nut in there, like a Gibson. So quality is not a question with this guitar. So anyway, anywho. What we're going to do now is we're going to level this fretboard. We're going to make sure that all these frets are perfectly level. It's going to be perfectly level when I get done with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this marker here and I'm going to put a little line across across the top of each one of these frets here, And if I get a little on the fretboard, it's not going to hurt anything. Anyways, I'm going to go over each one of these frets, okay, with the marker, put a little black marker on there. Then I'm going to take this homemade leveling beam. It's got a little bit of old wore out 600 sandpaper on there. We're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I've removed the black marker from every last one of these frets. And that black marker will tell me where things are high, where things are low. And if I might get a couple of swipes into it and I see that nothing's coming out of the middle. So that means I got to adjust the truss rod just a hair. So that's the whole key to the game right here, is that we get this flat and we keep it flat. You know what I mean? I'm not going to adjust this once I get strings on this. I'm not going to adjust this no more. Once I get it flat, we're going to keep going. and I won't adjust it anymore until I get strings on it. Then, when I get strings on it and they're all tuned up and ready to go, I'll come over here and I'll check the relief to see if we have about, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 thousandths right in that area. And we should have about that right in the middle here. And if that's good, then I don't have to adjust the truss rod, put the truss rod cover back on. But if I don't have enough relief, then I can adjust it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and level this fretboard out. And after I get that done, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll do some more. Well, we got the frets all leveled, or I did. I got the frets all leveled. We got it all, so all the marker was off of there. Okay. I'm going to tighten in just a little bit, I think. There we go. There we go. All right. Then, because when we level the frets, we flatten down the top of the frets. The frets get flat, and that's not good. We want a little point on the end of the frets. So what I do is I take my little fret file here. You can see it's got a little slots in there, small, medium, and large, and jumbo, you know. And basically what I do is I just take the fret file and we go over the fret like this. You know, this is just a kind of a file, and you do it till it sounds smooth. Or you can put some, you know, I've been doing this a while, and I don't need to, but you can take some marker and put it on there. And then when you file your fret, you'll look and there should be just a little tiny line of marker down the center of that fret. That's the way it's good. But I went ahead and went over this whole fretboard like that. Now the next step is going to be to do these fret ends here. Now they don't really need a lot, but we're going to go over them just a tad, just to kind of clean them up a little bit and make sure that they're to my standards. So basically what I got here is I got a little tiny file here, and this file is like a triangle. These two sides right here, I don't know if you can see this. This side and this side have nothing on them, and this edge is smooth, doesn't have any file on it. The place this file is right on the front. So I can get in here and I can get this file without messing up the fretboard or doing anything like that. And basically what we do is we just kind of go over the fret on both sides just like that, just sort of going over it, and when you give it a little feel and you feel, oh, that feels pretty smooth. And these are already pretty smooth, so it probably won't take a whole lot to get it to where it should be. Then, after I get done with that, I'm going to clean up the board and we're going to do a few other things to it. And then we'll be able to move on to the body. So let me do these fret ends. I got to do them on both sides, and it takes a minute. So I'll be back when I get done with that. Okay, fellow guitar lovers. All right, we have went ahead and yeah, I think that's what we do too. Where's my little toothbrush? Ooh, I got a nice little bristle brush. Got a nice little plastic bristle brush. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over these frets a little bit, try to get some of the dried up crud that's in the fret there. Because I noticed that it's got a little bit of buildup in there. And sometimes that stuff's easier to get out when it's dry. You know, so we're just going to give it a good little over the frets there. And then you see I'm kind of tilting the brush just a little bit. So we'll get in that, get against that cracker, get in that, you know, against that fret real nice. Yeah, you know, it's the little things like this, man, make a big difference. You know, it's a bunch of little tiny things when you're setting up a guitar. And it's not so much that you're setting it up, you know, that's the technical part of it. The part that really matters is the amount of love you give this instrument. You know, you gotta just, you know, go, man, this thing is beautiful and I want it to stay beautiful, and it's, you know, cup of coffee. All right. Now, we got this thing nice and smooth here and stuff like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean it, because I'm getting ready to start the polishing and sanding and, you know, smoothing, the ultra smoothing of this. And I don't want to grind a bunch of crap into the neck, you know. So I'm going to take some good old rubbing alcohol. If you've watched the channel before, you know I use rubbing alcohol and a lot of stuff. You know, the reason especially the reason I use it on fretboards is because it cleans really good, okay? It gets all the grease and grime and crap off of here, but it doesn't soak into the wood. It's not soap and water. God, don't ever use soap and water on your fretboard. I like the alcohol because it cleans real quick and it dries real fast. And you know, I think that when I clean it with alcohol, the conditioner that I use, the coconut oil, because I put coconut oil on it, okay, that takes to the wood better because the wood is sort of, you know, the alcohol sort of dries it out, which is a good thing in this case. And see, I'm trying to get in there and get those cracks real good, okay? I know I noticed a few spots that had some schmutz on them, you know, had some extra finger dirt. And that just means that this guitar's been played. I like to see a little bit of finger dirt. Alrighty, we're gonna let that dry there. Bada boom, bada bing. Now the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get out some sanding over the papers. Okay. Let me see what I got going on here. And alright. We're going to start the polishing and smoothing process on this neck here. And well, I'm starting off with a piece of sandpaper that is a piece of 600, but it's old 600. And it's been around the block a little bit. And we're just going to kind of go over the frets like this with it. You know, we've been scratching it with the leveler, with the fret, with the leveling beam, and now we're going to start smoothing things out. And in the process, I don't know if you've noticed, and some people might be freaking out, oh my gosh, he didn't cover the fretboard with tape. Oh Lord, you know, the guy over Stu Mac, that's what he does. You know, well, last time I checked, it's okay to sand wood, okay? And I'm using a piece of 600 here. I don't use anything on this fretboard that's less than that's, you know, rougher than 600. And I'm getting this fretboard smooth. It's taking out all the little, you know, this board here it already is smooth, but it's going to take all that, you know. And we're just trying to get the ends here a little bit too. Make sure I get those ends, because you know we were just filing on those. You know, we're going to go about both sides over the ends, okay? And then I'm going to go over it with a piece of 1200 after that. You know, and we'll smooth it out some more. Keep going, go, okay? And then I'll go to a piece of 2000, and I'll do the whole thing like that, okay? And then I'm going to take a piece of steel wool. I'll show you my steel wool. Well, when I get to that part, I'll show you. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going over this and smoothing it out and stuff with the sandpaper. And when it's time to go over it with the steel wool, I'll be back. Alright. Here's what I've been wanting to kind of show you. Is, you know, when you use steel wool, it always sheds stuff all over the stinking place. You know, it gets on the pickups, and then it's hard to get off, and blah, blah, blah. Okay? So what I did is I had this old magnet laying around. So I stuck this big giant magnet to the back of my steel wool. Now everything stays pretty much put. Now I'll still take a rag or something and kind of lay it over the pickup a little bit, just to sort of, you know, make sure that nothing's going to get on it, you know. Just kind of helps. But, in fact, I think I'm going to stick something else on besides that one. Alright, there's a towel I can trust. The other one, I don't know what it had. I think it might have had some alcohol on it, and I didn't want to chance, you know, lifting it up, and the alcohol is, that's what the finish of this guitar is. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and forth over these frets with this steel wool. That steel wool is going to put a final shine on it, you know. And I think maybe I'll go over it with the Dremel too, just to kind of give it a little bit of an extra oomph shine, you know. It always likes that. And we'll just keep on going all the way down to the end here. And we'll go back over it a few times here. Over it this way, you know. Just trying to get everyone. And in the meantime, I'm going to be trying to get the wood a little bit too. Because the wood is very important. It's going to be nice and glassy smooth too. This whole fretboard is going to be nice and smooth. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, come on, man. You know, if you're going to play, you have your guitar doing what it's supposed to do, you know. Have the very best. It is definitely worth the money for the setup. And, you know, I've heard people talking, you know, because I watch some YouTube, see who's out there doing what, you know. And $100 seems to be pretty much the going rate about wherever you go for a decent setup. You know, but really, you got to bring it to somebody who knows what they're doing. You know, a $100 setup, if it's just throwing a few adjustments on your guitar, eyeballing it, and you know, not even changing the strings and stuff. That's not a setup. That's just a tweaking your guitar. You got to go through it. You got to get it right. Start right from the beginning and do everything the way it's supposed to be done. I just noticed this binding is so cool. It's got a little black line down the side of the binding. It's not just white solid binding. It's got a little black line down each side of it. It's awesome. Okay, now we're going to get some real good. Yeah, you know, we'll get it so it's ooh smooth. So that's what we're shooting for. Wham! Look at that. Now we're going to go ahead and take that towel off there. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. It is ooh smooth and good. Alright, now what I'm going to do one more stupid time is I'm going to go over with some more alcohol. Only this time I'm going to use a little bit of toilet tissue, or toilet paper, or poopy paper, however you want to say it. And put a little bit more alcohol on there. And we're just going to go over it and get all the little stuff that might have come off there. Just to get it good and clean. And I kind of like to do this because I want to see, I like to look at the paper to see if there's any stuff that's coming off it, or if we're, you know, if it's, you know, like some guitars have a lot of stains still left on the fretboard, you know, and I kind of like to see if I'm starting to get some of that up. You don't want, you know, otherwise your fingers will be black every time you play it, you know. You have black fingertips when you get done playing it. Okay. Man, we have done just about everything you can do to this neck. It is nice and smooth. It is nice and polished and slick. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to take some coconut oil here. So I got some good old, give it a plug, Kroger coconut oil. And I'll explain it again. Like I've said this like a million times. This is coconut oil. Alright, you see? At room temperature, it's a solid, okay? I'm not trying to put some oil, some liquid oil on this, okay? I want something that's going to hydrate it, but it's not going to soak the dog out of it, you know? It's not going to get all, you know, oily and soaky. Now, when this coconut oil hits your fingers, as you can see, it starts to melt. That's the way I like it. Because, see, now I can spread it on here, and it's going to soak into that wood just the right amount that I want it to. You know, you see these guys, you know, I mean, everybody has their preferences, you know, and I'm not going to say that anybody else is doing it wrong, or they should do it my way, or anything like that. I'm just saying that I try to do things that make common sense, and putting a lot of oil. See a guy go down the thing with the oil, and he rubs it in and stuff. I know he's kind of getting to it quick, but still, I'm not trying to loosen things up here. I'm not trying to, maybe it won't, but, I think this is a really good method that works really nice. I think it does, it achieves what I'm trying to achieve, I'm not trying to put a whole lot of oil on this. I don't want it all oily. This stuff's oily enough. But anyway, enough of the benefits of coconut oil. Huh? Like a coconut oil professor over here or something like that. Well, I got stock in coconut oil. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I rub this in and get it in all the good wood places. And the thing about, and here's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to let this sit at room temperature. And I got a quarter for anybody who can tell me what's going to happen. That's right, Johnny. It's going to get solid. Yeah. And that's exactly what I want. Because when it gets solid, then I'm going to come along and I'm going to wipe it off. And, the heat from my hand's not going to hit it. So it's going to, we'll wipe it off with some, with some toilet tissue. And it will leave the cracks and the crevices, if there is any, and the little, bits of grain in the wood. It'll stay in there and make things nice and smooth. And it will, hydrate this fretboard just the way we want it. Okay, so I will be back in just a minute when I'm ready to wipe this off. All right, folks. We're back on the job again. We got the neck looking perfect. Looking beautiful, nice and shiny. Oh, and smooth. And doing what a neck is supposed to do. Okay? And I went ahead and wiped down the body a little bit. Just to kind of get some of the stuff out from those little areas where you can't get to once you start putting strings and junk on it. Okay? So we got it wiped down a little bit, and I went ahead and lubed up the pots and the switch a little bit, put just a little bit of contact cleaner in there, just a little bit of cleaner in there to make sure that all these pots are nice and smooth and they don't have any crackles or anything like that in them. Nobody wants a crackle. Okay, and we came back down here and made sure that the strap buttons were nice and tight too. So I think the next step is going to be to go ahead and I think I'm going to clean off that pickup just a little bit. We're going to take just a little bit of rubbing alcohol on this here rag. Just kind of touch them up a little bit. I want them to look real nice and shiny. And once we put the strings over top of it, it's a little bit harder to clean once you get it. Strings on it, Okay. We'll see how that looks after we get done polishing it up a little bit. Is it shiny enough? Because a guitar like this, when I get done with it, should be shining like a new penny. And I think I'm going to go over this pick guard just a little bit too. Just a little bit. Get those areas where, fingerprints collect and stuff like that. And I'm trying to stay away from the finish with this rubbing alcohol. Because sometimes rubbing alcohol can act funny on some of the finishes. So we always try to be careful with it. We'll have that cleaned up real nice. Look at that. Yeah, that cleaned up real nice. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is I think we're about ready to put some strings on this thing. I'll take a look at this bridge here. It looks pretty nice and clean, but I think I'm going to give it a little brush off with my toothbrush. Aha, there it is. It's always hiding. Okay, so take this bridge here. We're just going to sort of give it a little bit of, a bristle brushing with the toothbrush. That sort of gets all the stuff out of there, if there is anything to begin with. And I really like this. This is a nice little, it's a, you can see what it says. It says Goto. and it is really nice. It's got little, instead of just having the screws go through, they have little nuts on the end, which I'm assuming are right in there. Yep, looks like it. Looks like they're stamped at the end here, so it just makes it a little bit more sturdy, which is a good thing. And we're going to wipe it off a little bit with this rag that has a rubbing alcohol on it, just to sort of get nice and clean. And that's one thing that, you know, I'm making wow factor. Now, which way does this bridge go on? Which way does it go? It goes with the adjustment screws going towards the front of the guitar. Okay. I gotta get in there and get that looking a little bit better. And you know, if you're chrome, the chrome parts on your guitar, you got them off and they're not looking so good, and you know, you've wiped them out and they still don't, you've wiped them off and they still don't look all that great. Take a little bit of chrome polish after them, you know, like you would use on the bumper of your car, you know. A lot of times that kind of stuff will clean things right up. Alright, and bump-a-da-bum, bump-a-da-bum-a-da-bum. Here we go. We're going to put some strings on it. Oh, snap, I forgot. Not the Ernie balls. No, not the official strings of MOJO Shop Guitar. No, he brought me some special strings. He brought me some Diodarios. They're not exactly my favorite strings, but, you know, nobody can beat an Ernie ball in my opinion. But these are 9.5 through 42, or through 44. 9.5 through 44. You know, a Diodario always makes a decent string, you know. I like having my strings in the individual packages. It just makes it easier. I don't have a handful of strings here with little color code things that I gotta, you know. Last time I did a pack of these, I put the wrong string on, you know, so. But anyway, that's because sometimes, you know, gotta pay more attention. Anyway, alright. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Diodario strings. Alright, let's see. We'll separate the two packs. Okay. And we got, these are the light strings and these are the big heavy strings. Okay. We'll get them all opened up. Alright, I got two strings out here. Alright. Now, you get a little thing on the back there, tells you what strings to use, so it makes it kind of easy, you know. And the sixth string, the big string, is going to be brass. So I got two strings here, and this big fat one right here, that's brass. It's got the brass color in it, okay? So what I'm going to do is take my bridge here, which I didn't wipe down yet. Luckily, it's pretty clean and nice. There we go. Nice. Alright. Now the bridge goes out in this here way. So we got to make sure we put the strings through the right way, right? Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put this other one down here too. The red one is the A, yes. Okay. We'll put both those through there. And then, let's see. Let's move our operation down to the headstock, so we get an idea, get a picture of what's going on down here. And, I gotta get my junk out of the way. Alright, okay. And then we'll slide down a little bit down this side. And we'll not sit on the strings. How's that? Is that looking better? Yes, that's a shot. What do you know? Okay. Put the tail piece in here. Okay, we're just gonna do one string at a time. Uh-oh. I'm getting ahead of myself, ain't I? Yep, I gotta glue the nut back in there, and I want to wipe that off a little bit too. So it looks like it's got some junk on it. You know, it's got a little bit of red stuff on there. I don't know what that is. Probably stain or something. Probably. Oh, it's from the. All right. See, this guitar is so nice. It comes with a little wooden truss rod cover. Okay, and the wood stain has stained the nut a little bit, so I guess it's nothing to worry about. So we are going to make sure that pocket that this nut's going back in is nice and clean. So brush it out a little bit, and then we're going to hit it with just a couple of drops of super glue in there. Okay, just a couple of drops. I'm going to set that nut right down in there. Make sure we got it going the right way and everything. Just everything's kosher. Okay, let's set it right down in there, and we're going to center it so that it's just perfect in the right, just perfect spot. Press it down and hold it. Hold it for half a second, Alright, now I can go ahead and put a string on there. Alright, we're going to measure it out like we always do. Bring it right through there. Alright, now you stick the string through there, and then you bring it around the top of the tuner post. Okay, pull it tight. Then you're going to hang on to it, and then you poke this end up. You grab your crank, and just start winding it up. And make sure that the first wind goes over the string, going through the hole, and the second wind goes under. So you're going to go with a one time over, one time under. Okay? Alright. So I got that one in place pretty much. We're going to cut this off. I like to cut it out just clean to that post as I possibly can, because when you stick this in the case, okay, or you stick it in your gig bag, you don't want a bunch of strings sticking up over here, because they're going to poke into your bag, they're going to poke into your case, and they're going to start tearing stuff up, and you don't really want that. And then after all it's said and done, you got a bunch of fuzzy tuners, because they're all full of junk and ready to tire, Well, anyway, you see we got the one string on here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the strings on there the rest of the way. Okay? And I'm going to wipe off this headstock a little bit too, because I don't want to start putting strings on there quite yet. So, I mean, to finish putting them, because it looks like it's got a little dust and dirt, and it's easiest to get that stuff now. Okay? So I'm going to clean that off, and I'm going to finish restringing this, and then we'll show you the rest of the setup, okay? Sounds like a plan, Stan? Yeah, okay, I'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back. And we got some strings on here, and we have them tuned to pitch, and we do that just because we want to try to get it in the ballpark here, get it so it's, And now what we're going to do is we're going to search for tools. Let's see, where is that? Tighten. I can tell you that. Anywho, okay, I got this one right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the string height here, and we're going to just, I'm going to go right here to the 12th fret, and we're going to make it about, we are going to make it about 1.8. Okay. I'll find my other little piece right here. There we go. Alright, we're going to make this one about 1.8, so it's got to come up just a little bit. And we use this end of the thing. Now, it's always important to use the right size screwdriver for when you're going to try to adjust stuff. So, that way you just, you don't screw stuff up, So it looks nice. Alright, we're going to zoom in just a little bit. We got to slide down just a hair. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Now we're just going to adjust this right here. The low end needs to come up just a little bit. So we're just going to kind of give it a little turn up until I get to where I want to be. It's about 1.8. A bit higher. And you remember we got it. See, that's got to go up even a little bit higher. Okay. Use this one over here. Yeah, see, we're way low. Way low. I should be way past this one right here, so yeah, we got to go up a little bit. Well, let's keep going. Down just a little bit. Right there. See, the thing about it is you know, you got to know your tools, okay? And you know, I got simple stuff, and but I've measured it with my micrometer, so I know what the thicknesses are. Right about where it is. That's where we want to be on this end. Okay, now we'll come around over to this side, and I'll try this side. See, it's got to come way up too. A little bit more. And we know we get the string height right. I like that. Maybe down just a hair. Okay. Now we got our string height set. Now we're going to set our pickup height. And let's see what pickup height. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to go over here and we're just going to measure our pickup height where we're sitting on pickups. About 3 1/4 millimeters over there. 3 1/4. That's not too bad. That side's just about the same. It's pretty good right there. You know, I don't know, I'm kind of liking it. Where it's at already. You know, and with these good guitars like this, they've set the pickups height, you know. And so, you know, but it's you know, we're going to see where we're going to go with it like this. Now, when we get to the final play, when we start playing it, and when we start switching around, we'll listen for differences in volume, and we'll adjust it from there. Okay, so we got our string height set. We got our pickups set. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to stretch the strings. So let me widen out a little bit. There we go. Okay. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to, I usually put the guitar in my lap, but you're going to take the string, you're going to kind of pull it up a little bit and give it a little, one of these jobs. So you kind of put your finger behind the string and then your thumb on the top side and you kind of, you know, give it a little stretching it, and then give it a little yank, and then you do that to every string. Go over it and give it a little yank, pull it up, give it a little S twist, I guess you could say. You know, pull it up. Now you don't want to pull up on it hard or pull way up on it, but you're just trying to take some of the ease some of the stretch out of it. Okay. Then once you get it stretched like that, then you can turn around and go tune it up again. Oh, because I set that string height up. All right, well, we're going to retune this, and we'll see basically what we're going to do is we're going to stretch the string, okay, and then we're going to retune it. And then we'll stretch it again and retune it and stretch it again. And then when we get to the point where we stretch it and it basically doesn't go out of tune, or it only goes out of tune just a hair, then we know we're in a good area. I like to get it so it's just a hair. So I haven't taken all the stretch out of it, you know what I mean? It's still, you know, but it's right there. So when you do have to tune it, it doesn't have to go far. You know, the tuner just goes beep like that, and it's, you know, it's tuned. So I'm going to get it to that point when you get it all stretched out and everything like that. And I think, let me see. After that, I want to check and make sure we have enough relief. And if we have enough relief, then we're going to go ahead and put the truss rod cover back on it and give it a try. See how she sounds, see how she does. So let me finish stretching them, let me get to that point, and when we're ready to play it, I'll be back. Well, well, well. Look at what we have here. Guess what we got? We got a guitar that's all done. All I have to do is take and give it a final wipe down. Make sure that it's spotless and clean, everything's straight and copacetic. You know, 10-4, out the door. Put the truss rod cover in it. She's got about 8 thousandths of an inch of relief. Every last note plays perfectly good up and down the neck. It's doing good. It's doing perfect. Let me give it a little try right here. Let me see. See how beautiful she sounds. Just do a little G chord. The way it's supposed to sound. Nice and full. This one was a real nice one. You know, it was pretty easy. Everything was pretty much in where it should be. You know, I didn't have to mess with the nut because the nut's been cut right. You know, the first 3 notes here play perfectly in tune. I didn't have to mess with the intonation because the intonation's already been set perfectly. You know, things like that don't really change. I just changed the string height a little bit. I changed the, you know, I adjusted the truss rod a little bit, and we did our polish, the frets, and level the fretboard, and the fret ends and everything like that. We did everything to the, you know, that we could to this guitar. Went around it and did all kinds of stuff, you know. And it's ready to play some jazz. It's ready to play some blues, you know. But you can really hear the noise coming out of those F holes there. It really is nice, you know. Beautiful. Yep. It's doing what it's supposed to. It's playing perfectly in tune. It's playing nice and easy. You know, it's just, it's checking all the boxes. I mean, it's beautiful. It's doing good. Look at those. I mean, just look at the mirror shine on that. You know? I mean, this guitar is, I put this right up there with the Gibson. If, you know, if it didn't say Eastman on the top, I'd say that Gibson made this. You know, I mean, it's quality build. I don't give a damn. You know, if it does say it was made in Indonesia. Let's see, what did it say? Beijing, China. They take some pride in, you know, they make a nice guitar. I gotta give it up. That binding was the fashizzle. But look at that back of that thing. Man, this thing's got some real nice wood on it. You know, you can't argue with this. It's got a beautiful case. It's got a beautiful, you know, a beautiful guitar. Man, it's all good. Now, I'm going to go over and I'm going to clean up this, clean up the case for them. Make it look real nice and beautiful. You know, wipe it down. Get all the little white marks off you get from the wall and junk like that. You know, get all that stuff off. Hit it with some armor also. That's nice and spinky, spanky, shiny. And vacuum out the inside of it so that it's clean. You know, and we'll put this baby back in there. And then when, you know, the owner, Eric, comes to get it, because he's going to come get it in a few hours, man, he's going to open this thing. Oh, wow, dang, it looks so good. So, man, I think we're going to wrap this one up. If maybe if Eric wants to play it, maybe we'll show him playing it. But if not, you know, I don't know. We'll be back. I mean, we'll be... we'll call this one a wrap, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be back.
Is this advertising?
Yeah. All right, we got our guy here.
All right.
He's giving her a whirl. Need a pick?
No, this is fine.
Let's say,
oh, we're drop D.
No, not on here yet. No, that's E.
No, it's drop D right now.
Oh.
It's really good, and I'll tell you why. Because you you noticed it was low. And low is good for me. But it wasn't quite ringing. And so you did bring it up just enough.
Well, actually, I took the fretboard went down. The fretboard went down. Yeah, I've been wiping it down so much that it might not be in tune. So I probably should have tuned it right up before you came in and got it.
Whatever your technicalities are for the way that it feels playing it.
Right. Yeah, it's got a nice action to it. And you know, I kind of go by the rule of thumb that when you try to bend a string, if your finger wants to roll over it, it's too low.
Yep.
You know, of course, if you're snow plowing, it's too high too. You know. So.
Yeah.
Getting right down there, ain't it?
Yeah.
So you say the thing that's doing all right then?
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right, good.
It is good.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up here. It sounds like another good job here. We got it all taken care of. I'm a happy camper. All right, we're gonna say adios for now from MOJO Shop Guitar.
Goodbye.
Baby. Yeah, see you later.